I don't see where it's going to be.
That's high.
That's right. He was almost. Yeah. But I like how you doing? Very good. How are you? You know, very oh, well, I forgot my well, she's kind of
So far, technology's working.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh well.
The ceiling is not going to fall down because of this.
No. Okay.
I can sit down and front of everybody.
United Methodist Church welcomes you. Creating a safe place to tell your story.
Creating a safe place to tell your stories.
The good news of Christ honors and celebrates the differences God has created in all of us.
Age,
Race, culture,
sexual orientation,
gender identity,
family configuration,
religious background,
Economic status, developmental and physical ability are expressions of the image of God.
or expressions of the image of God.
God loves you.
We cherish you.
You make a difference in our world.
You make a difference in our world.
You make a difference in our world.
You are beloved. We need to help us tell the entire story of Christ's grace and joy in our lives. Hashtag every story matters.
Good morning. Life gets weird sometimes. And this is one of those mornings that, let me make sure everything's working here. Looks like it is. Just to let you know, well, as if you don't already, you're already down here. The painters are at work upstairs refreshing the sanctuary. And if you have not already, I invite you to at least poke your head in before you get out of here and take a look. It is amazing what a fresh coat of paint does to just liven a space up. And there are a couple of little changes that we did that I'm not going to tell you about right now because I want to see if you will notice up there. But I mean, the other change that you may or may not have noticed on your way in is that our sign is missing. It was not stolen, but the sign company came and picked up the old shell and is going to replace the old lettering that was there with our current logo, and it will say New Visions United Methodist. It will be lit so that in the evenings people will know who we are, and that I'm discovering that all of this work happens in this order. We give them a bunch of money. They order the parts. And then eventually they get it done. And the sign is somewhat the same way. They have it, they're working on it. It should be back amongst us in a week or two. So we're looking forward to that coming back. When they are done in the sanctuary, when the painters are done in the sanctuary, they're going to move to the chapel and put a fresh coat of paint in there to just kind of bring that space back to life as well. And we've got some other plans for that space that we'll let you know about when we get close to being able to do that. So basically, we're not knocking out any walls, we're not raising the roof, but we're trying to bring a fresh spirit into the place. We appreciate your flexibility in order of being down here. Now, just because of the way it was set up and because of the weirdness of the morning, we have decided that we're not going to celebrate communion this morning. We just kind of made that decision after we saw what the setup was. But we will invite the grace of Christ to be among us, even if we don't do it in that particular way this morning. So we will, the rest of it should proceed relatively in a familiar fashion in that. So this is the last week of the Pause to Dream series. Oh, I forgot to start this here. There we go. I am awfully proud of myself that throughout this whole series, I have never run this thing out. So but again, the underlying thought of the Pause to Dream series is that with life's hectic pace, we forget that we can just step aside. We can take a moment to breathe and to dream and to allow our bodies and our souls to expand a little bit. Now, I did not bring the little timers down, but I've got the video queued up, which is pretty much the same amount of time. Just a minute is all that it is. But let us invite the Spirit among us by taking a pause, and let us dream this morning of what the Spirit might be doing among us today. Let's take that moment to dream. And a lovely intro. So let's stand as we're able and sing together. We're going to sing "Make Me a Channel of Your Peace." I'm a little worried about my slides. I think we may lose a couple of words here.
It'll be okay.
Oh, there we are. They show up. They show up. So let's sing together. Let's invite the Spirit among us. Please be seated. And we come to the time for sharing our prayers for each other and for the world that We know that as uncomfortable as it has been in Nebraska this last week, it has been downright dangerous in some parts of our country and around the world. And so we want to begin by praying for all of those who don't have the capacity to escape from the heat and the rigors of this, in some places, unbearable summer. We pray for their health and safety. In your love, oh God.
Hear our prayer.
What other prayers do we wish to share this morning? Yeah, Shelley.
My grandson Augie is leaving tomorrow for Florida for 10 days with another family that has 5 children. So I pray for his safety and for all of them, safe travel so that he doesn't get lost.
Indeed. Prayers for Augie, who is traveling. Evidently, I'm not standing in the right place. So I'm moving the camera. I'll plant myself here. Anyway, prayers for Augie and the 5 other kids and the parents, the adults that are taking them. Safe travels, safe return, and a fun time. In your love, oh God.
Hear our prayer.
Good to see Marilyn back among us. She's been out to Cincinnati and back, representing not only New Visions, but representing Justice in Action here in Lincoln with the larger organization of which that is a part, Direct
Action and Research Training.
Direct Action and Research Training. And I look forward to hearing what you saw and learned out in Cincinnati, but we're glad to have you back safe and sound.
Very grateful.
Indeed. In your love, oh God. But we can do that too. What other prayers do we wish to share? Yeah.
Prayer of congratulations to my cousin Nathan, who got married yesterday.
Indeed. Prayers for Nathan and
Evers, his new wife Bethany.
and for Nathan and Bethany, who got married yesterday, you said?
Yep.
All right. So prayers for a long and happy journey. In your love, oh God.
Hear our prayer.
Marilyn.
Well, for joy that Liam is doing great. He's a month old, almost 8 pounds.
Indeed. Liam is a month old and almost 8 pounds. Winona, my granddaughter, had her first checkup this last week, and she has gained an ounce on her birth weight, which is good because she started at 5'7". So she's a tiny little thing, but she's healthy and doing well. Amy, how's Maverick doing?
Maverick's doing good. He's home and he weighs 6'13".
6'13". Okay, and that concludes the baby checkup. But kind of a joy to have babies to check up on. So, in your love, oh God.
Hear our prayer.
Molly.
Celebration for friends. I had a pretty great week, turning 22.
Aha! Molly has turned 20. You survived 21. That's always a good thing. Happy birthday to Molly, who is starting out her 22nd orbit around the sun. So happy birthday to Molly. What was that?
She turned 22, isn't she starting her
23rd
orbit?
Oh, let's not math.
Winona's on her first orbit.
Happy birthday, Molly. In your love of God. Bill.
Continued prayers for Cole and his family.
Indeed, continued prayers for Cole and his family. We know that will be a long journey, but we are grateful for the progress that he has made. In your love of God.
Hear our prayer.
Yeah.
On a more somber note, suddenly I'm hearing reports of people I know being exposed to COVID or having COVID. And I think we're, entering yet another tick up and with school starting and,
Absolutely.
maybe we have learned from our former lessons and move on carefully.
Well, I think one of the things we've learned is that COVID is one of those things that isn't going away.
Yep.
It will just always be among us. I did see on the news that they think this mid-year, as you said, tick up is just going to be a regular event. So be careful, be healthy, help each other stay healthy in these times. And for those who manage to contact the disease, for their quick and speedy healing. In your love, O God. For the prayers we say out loud, for the prayers we say in our hearts, for the prayers so deep inside us, we don't always even know that we're praying, oh God. But we know that you have reached out to us with love, healing, and grace, which allows us to put ourselves, those we know and love, and all your creation into your caring hands by saying, in your love, oh God. And it is well over 500 days since Ukraine was invaded, and so we continue to sing for peace. Let's do it in unison. And we will sing Dona Nobis Pacem, grant us peace. For the last number of weeks, we have been pausing to dream. We have visited some of the people in the Bible who have dreamed, who have had dreams. Joseph, Jesus' father, the wise men just last week. Jacob on his way to his relative's house. We've looked at some of those visions and dreams that other human beings have had along the way. We're wrapping up the series this morning by visiting what I kind of call God's dream. And that this comes again from the book of Ezekiel. This is a passage that I also sometimes call God's job description. But behind that, I believe this is what God's dream for the world is. That, it's not a place of competition. It is not a place of combat. But it is a place of respite and healing and sanctuary. And this passage seems to reflect one of those core images for the people of Israel and even for Jesus himself. So coming from the 34th chapter of Ezekiel, let's listen to God's dream.
Ezekiel 34 verses 11 to 16. The sovereign God proclaims, I myself will search for my flock and seek them out. As a shepherd seeks out the flock when some in the flock have been scattered, so will I seek out my flock. I will rescue them from all the places where they were scattered during the time of clouds and thick darkness. I will gather and lead them out from the countries and peoples, and I will bring them to their own fertile land. I will feed them on Israel's highlands, along the riverbeds, and in all the inhabited places. I will feed them in good pasture, and their sheepfold will be there, on Israel's lofty highlands. On Israel's highlands, they will lie down in a secure fold and feed on green pastures. I myself will feed my flock and make them lie down. This is what the sovereign God says. I will seek out the lost, bring back the strays, bind up the wounded, and strengthen the weak. But the fat and the strong I will destroy, because I will tend my sheep with justice.
And I believe our special music this morning is actually a request of mine for this series.
It is, and I was thinking about the words to this song, and while it sounds like a song for lovers, love comes in many forms. When I'm on you, in my arms, when I'm on you, and all your charms, whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. Dream, 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 when I feel blue, in the night when I need you to hold me tight whenever I want you. All I have to do is dream. I can make you mine, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream. I can make you fly, taste your lips of wine, anytime, night or day. Only trouble is, gee whiz, I'm dreaming my life away. I need you so that I could die. I love you so, and that is why whenever I want you, all I have to do is dream.
It is lovely having the Everly sisters over here. That was wonderful. That really was. I'm taking a risk this morning because I'm guessing that this next video will probably get some attention from the algorithms that be on Facebook as we stream this morning. But this is one of the examples of a group that started a number of years ago that went around the world to share the gift of music. Now, I tried to count in that. How many countries were represented? I lost track at about 9 or 10. I tried to count how many musicians were in there, and there were lots. I lost track. And what is amazing to somebody like me who has limited musical capability is how they can get that many people, that spread apart, to all be in the same key and all on the same beat. And actually, there's a very simple method that they use on that. It's called the click track. And whether it's this simple or whether it was a bass line that somebody laid out or whatever, they all have this same track to listen to. That, you know, that's part of what's going on in the headphones that so many of them were wearing, is that it gives them a unified rhythm to be able to play along to. And I'm not going to let this click track go on as long as that whole song. But that idea that, you know, as long as there is that click track, these musicians, wherever they are, can play along, and they, you know, and then they're able to piece it all together. And so this dream that God had in Ezekiel, this is not the first place that this particular dream has shown up. That this is a message coming out of the experience of the exile in Babylon. It uses older images of the one who is the good shepherd. If you remember the 23rd Psalm, which was written much earlier than this passage, the Lord is my shepherd, who makes me lie down in green pastures, where I want for nothing. It is the kind of image that Israel keeps coming back to. And the prophet speaks in God's voice, and now I really have lost my, I don't know what happened to all of my formatting. But the part that really catches my attention in this, God promises that the flock that has been scattered in exile will be brought back home in safety, and not just brought home, but brought home to thrive. And the voice of this dream is that this is not a delegated job. It is God saying, I will feed my people. I'll bring them home and make them lie down. I will seek out the lost. I'll bring back the strays. I will bind up the wounded, and I will strengthen the weak. That this is not the voice of a God who sits up in heaven, unaffected, unconcerned with what is going on with people down here. This is a God saying, I'm getting involved. This is my job among you. And again, coming back to that image of the 23rd Psalm, I've always thought that the 23rd Psalm, if it really was written by David, as tradition says, I would imagine it was written at some point when being the king of Israel has weighed pretty heavy on his shoulders. You know, that he's longing for the days in his youth when all he had to do was watch the sheep. And he imagines then not himself as the shepherd, but God as the shepherd who will take care of those sheep with abundance. But you know, it's not just in the Old Testament. When we look at the ministry of Jesus, I think Jesus had this dream from Ezekiel in mind when he began his ministry. in John's gospel, Jesus actually says, I'm the good shepherd, and I will bring my sheep home. Jesus tells the parable of a sheep that is lost and asks the question, which one of you would not leave the 99 sheep and go find that one that is lost? It's God's job. It's God's dream to go find the one that is lost. In what we call the Good Samaritan, Jesus tells a story that one who is traditionally held to be an enemy of Israel is the one who binds up the wounds of the one who was set upon by thieves. It's God's dream that those who are wounded are bound up and tended. Jesus goes among the people, and those who don't even have the strength to stand, he heals so that they can dance. When people are hungry, I believe Jesus lived into God's dream. And even a crowd of 5,000, well, the text says 5,000 men, but I assume that spouses and children were there. So who knows how many were hungry, but they got fed because Jesus was living into God's dream. And the Beatitudes, the core curriculum of Jesus' followers, he says, blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Now, remember that in biblical speak, righteousness and justice are synonyms. And so it is both filling physical hunger and thirst, but also it is God's dream that the people live in the midst of justice, not John Wayne justice, but the justice that means no one is in debt. The justice that means no one has to go hungry because they owe somebody else. The justice that says, remember, we were all brought home to this land. And finally, at the end of Matthew's gospel, that parable of the goats and who else? The sheep. That this dream of God showing up to tend the sheep. Of course, that parable is all about those who just naturally do all of these things that we've been talking about. They visit those in prison. They bring comfort to those who are sick. They bring hope to the poor. Because they're the sheep that have received this dream of God. And that dream is not just for us as individuals. That's a global dream of healing. That some of the words that are on there are joy and wisdom and kindness, holistic, connect, faith. God's dream is for a world, well, Frederick Buechner reminds us that we live in a world where terrible things can happen. But God's dream is that when terrible things happen in our world, there is love and compassion and healing and justice and food available to see us through. And remember that our God did not just make our world. The click track is for the whole universe. And so when we hear the click track of God's dream, we get to play along. In fact, we get to grow into that particular dream. The thing about God's dream is it's not just a pretty image, it's a pattern. It's a rhythm that we can live into. And that click track is playing right here at New Visions. It's a click track that sometimes invites us to worship in the basement because other things are happening. But they're not happening just for us. They're happening so that we can be a phrase I invented a few weeks ago that I continue to like. We become, the agents of providence. We're the hands and hearts of God working in our world and our neighborhood. That when we learn to play along with God's click track here for each other, then we can take that rhythmic compassion out into a world that needs to get back on track in ways they can't even imagine. So we're going to take another couple of moments to do that dream. And I want you to dream about how will God's dream shape us. So let us dream. And let's sing together a song that calls to mind the return from exile when God brought the people home. You can remain seated, but let us sing together when God restored our common life. When we went forth weeping,
Great liberating God.
This is a life now with spring up into us. I started out this morning saying that the theme of the day is we'll get through it. We got through that even though all the words weren't up there. It is our pattern to be Jesus' guests at the table, to receive the nurture and the food that not only our bodies need, but that our spirits need to grow in Christ. And so we, even though we're not doing the physical signs of that, I want us to pause, to dream that we will receive what we need from the God who involves intimately in our lives. Ours is not a God retired to heaven. Ours is a God present in Christ at the table, in many hands, in lives that are fed. So receive the grace of Christ that we may be the sheep that the love of God tends this day. So, and again, we are grateful for the gifts that you give, for the sustaining faith in the ministry of New Visions that we carry out. We believe that we are showing our neighbors and our community a different aspect of the face of Christ that many people assume about Christianity. And your gifts are what enable us to continue to create new and vibrant ministries to make a difference in our lives and in people's lives. So thank you for that. You may also give electronically. Those of you at home, if you would like to participate, you can click on that QR code and it will take you to a giving platform that you can choose any number of ways then to make that gift. We do have a number of opportunities for ministry that are coming up next Sunday, a week already. We are going to have Porch Art Palooza. This is the third year we've participated in that. Basically, it is a great time to get out and meet some of our neighbors, to discover what kind of creativity is going on in our neighborhood. We're going to be out on the lawn from 1 until 6. You all need to get out in the neighborhood and see what's out there, because I have to be here that whole time. And in addition to that, we are sharing our space with, I've kind of lost track now, 6 or 7 other artists who don't have any connection, particularly with New Vision, except that we have space. And so we are being generous and inviting them to be able to share what work that they're doing as well. And then before you get too comfortable, then Saturday, August 12th is our annual yard sale. And we are looking forward to meeting probably a different set of neighbors, but maybe some will intersect in that. If you would like to help, or if you would like to have space at the yard sale, we are working on that. Get a hold of Jennifer in the office. She's the one. People keep asking me questions, and I say, I'm just in charge. I have no idea what's going on. So she's the one that is organizing all of that. And there will be, Kids Are Great is on break until September, but Harold's Closet continues to meet our neighbors and to make available those donations for the items that they need. And so it's almost August, but we still have some ministry to take care of. I'm guessing you've got some choir practice.
Oh, yeah, but I think everybody knows we're just doing it at 9:15 every Sunday morning in the chapel now. I was just gonna mention Exploring Justice, Xeriscaping, conservation landscaping with Bob Hendrickson. That's on the 13th.
On the 13th.
Coming in from UNL Arboretum.
Yep, and that is not zero like the number, by the way. But it does mean the kind of landscaping that uses at least less water and maybe even zero extra water. When I lived in Arizona, that was a big part of their push down there. So good stuff to learn. Again, August 13th after church. And the choir now is practicing at 9:15 in the chapel. So every Sunday. So looking forward to those things going on. So let us be the people who have been shepherded by God's dream, that we may take God's dream out into the world. I chose kind of an obvious hymn to wrap up what this dream is. We're going to sing "The Lord is My Shepherd," the old traditional version, the one that always makes me feel like I'm on some kind of British TV show, because the music sounds like what they like to use. Let's stand together as we are able and sing those words of the 23rd Psalm. Amen. And Shelley does have treats and such for us in the back, so let's stay healthy.